So he's put on 60 pounds. So I don't know what the hell he's taking, but that's absolutely crazy. But again, he may have made up those figures, although he does look a lot better. But the hashtags are hashtag viral. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. Time in the Boat A-hole here. Thank you very much for joining me as always. And this week, somebody sent me a bunch of videos they'd seen on TikTok, or at least a bunch of TikTokers. I think it links into a video that was done by Virtuane Physique. That's not how you pronounce his name. I haven't watched that video, but they mentioned that they had seen it. And I went through all this stuff, and it is truly just, well, we are living in crazy, crazy times. And yes, as you're about to see, it is the trend, I suppose, that's the only word I can think about it, when it comes to social media especially, of people who are super duper young, and in my opinion, way too young to be doing it, jumping on their first cycle. Now, no word of a lie, I'm so naive and so old, I didn't even know that the hashtag first cycle was this popular thing. So we're going to sit down, we're going to watch some of these videos, and I'm just going to try and underline why it may not be the best idea. So we have this guy here who is literally saying 2021 natural, and he's flexing away, and then obviously we cut to his first cycle a year later, and the dude is tanked. Now obviously, look, let's not pretend otherwise. He's also in the gym, so he's got a pump on. He's probably taken a bunch of pre-workout, etc., and things like that. The point is, when you actually look at the stuff that he's done, is I think he said 140 pounds to 200 pounds. So he's put on 60 pounds. So I don't know what the hell he's taking, but that's absolutely crazy. But again, he may have made up those figures, although he does look a lot better. But the hashtags are hashtag viral. It's just absolutely nuts. And this guy, he does a lot of stuff like this. He goes through very meticulously what he's doing, why he's doing it, the pros, the cons, the ups and downs, the lefts and rights, and everything like that. And I want to make it very clear early on in the video, you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want to do. It's not for me to tell you otherwise. But the trend, there's that word again, that I really stumbled across is that it just gets younger and younger and younger the more of these dudes that you find. And actually, when you look at a lot of their physiques, not saying this guy, I'm just talking about in general, I don't want to be specific to anybody. When you do look at a lot of these physiques, you're kind of like, could you have achieved that if you'd just given it a little bit more time and you would remain quote unquote natural, whatever the hell the word you want to use? And I actually think the answer is yes, because do not forget, when you are young, and some people are jumping on this stuff like 16, 17, 18, which is nuts, your body is still producing the most amount of natural testosterone that it's going to be producing. I mean, some people will lower earlier than others because it's going to depend on your genetic makeup and your chemical makeup, but mostly you get into your 30s and then it's just a downward spiral, which is why TRT, which is now becoming much more popular on healthcare services or private clinics, usually talks to people that are like 33 plus. I believe that's what the studies say or the statistics say. But I don't necessarily think people are doing drugs now because they want to see enhancements of their bodies, and of course that's part of it. But I think maybe 50% of that is that, and the other 50% is they want to have these videos. They want people to look at them and go, oh my gosh, crazy. They want it to go viral, which kind of ties into the next clip, which is this guy. Hit a plateau, was skinny and making no gains 2 months ago. Gains don't wake up one day and decide they don't love you. Get in the gym, gain 15 kilograms after my first 6-week cycle. And you see a bunch of pictures of him here. And again, we don't know what is true and what is not true because you can say whatever the hell, whatever the hell you want on these things. No one's going to know otherwise unless you actually show a picture or some footage of you injecting something into your ass, but I don't think TikTok will allow that. But once again, if I just rewind it a bit here, I mean, I don't necessarily think, what was that, 6 weeks he said. So I'm sure he's put on a lot of weight, but again, we don't know what compounds he's taking. So he may just be holding a lot of bloat. So actually, when he comes off these compounds, all of a sudden he's going to lose all this weight and realize it was just a bunch of water. I said bloat, I should have said water weight. And the damage it can do to you afterwards, I'm sure most people watching this know, right? But when you jump on stuff like this and you give yourself external testosterone, your brain says, okay, well, I'll stop making testosterone. And therefore, when you come off, you have zero testosterone in your body. And that's going to cause you issues. This is where the stereotypical, oh, your penis gets smaller when you jump on steroids. They meant testicles. And your testicles will get smaller because that's where everything is active. It's down in your testicles. So if all of a sudden your brain is sending a signal to your testes saying, hey, man, you don't need to make any more of that stuff. And he goes, okay. So of course they shrink because they're holding less. I mean, that's a very layman way to explain it, but that's basically the same thing. And you don't get anybody, I'm sure you do get people talking about that on social media, but these aren't the videos that blow up. These aren't the videos that people are sort of swarming towards. And I think the biggest problem is that it's creating this, well, you see articles like this all the time, and I know it's the same for girls as well. We're just looking at it from a boy point of view for this video, is that all of a sudden you start thinking to yourself, oh, I've got to look a certain way. And I'm never going to be able to look a certain way unless I do what these people are doing. And it must be true because look at the reactions they're getting. Look at the traction they're getting. Look at the hits, the likes, the blah, 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 which also gives you a dopamine response. The same with YouTube videos. It goes up and it gets to that number 1 position in your top 10 for the last month. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've done it. And then it just becomes, ironically, this vicious cycle. But I don't think we ever should have arrived at a place where you literally write hashtag first cycle and you brag about it. Like, again, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it's good, but it is dangerous. It's the equivalent of somebody like lining up a bunch of cocaine and go, woo, first time. Then move on to this guy. Again, 2021 natural, hashtag first cycle, gym motivation, Gymshark women. And then, again, we got him here doing a deadlift. Now, he obviously looks bigger than he did in the first one. He looks quite lean there. He looks quite ripped. But once again, do I necessarily think that is I don't even know what that word would be, but like a steroid transformation that you should be like, oh man, I should stay on gear forever? I think it's debatable. I'm not trying to knock anybody's physique. He looks great, right? He looks in great shape. But when you weigh up the pros and cons and think, okay, well, it may have taken me a couple of years more in order to get the same way, but I would have remained healthier. I just think that's the option. I think you really need to get into your, I mean, there's no real date, but late 20s, early 30s, unless you're like a competitor or something. But again, that's a completely different path that I know nothing about, that I'm not going to speak of. I think the worrying thing really, actually, let's focus on what I want to focus on, is that we've got people doing this like 16, 17, 18. And I just think that's nuts. Like when I was 16, 17, 18, of course I was tempted by that stuff. Who wouldn't be? You get into the gym and all of a sudden you're told there are these magic stuff out there that will make you twice as big. But I had no idea where to get it. And thank goodness I didn't, because who knows what choices I would have made then. And I'm very happy with the choices I did make. Again, not judging you. Please do whatever you want. But at that age, I just think you're going to screw yourself up. And if you ever do come to the realization, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, I very much doubt that you've had the appropriate drugs in order to turn yourself back on, which means from the age of maybe 25, 26, you are going to have to go on a TRT protocol for the rest of your life. And you don't want to do it because people think TRT is just you whack a bunch of testosterone into your ass and you feel great. It's not true. Some people that works with, other people go through such peak and troughs, they go through such roller coasters until they're able to dial it in. That's always the term people use. Oh, I can't dial it in, because you've got AIs and you've got other factors and you've got other hormones that are now competing for the same space. It's just an absolute roller coaster. Like, it truly is. And you know, again, I didn't know this when I was younger either. I've only managed to do this because I read a lot. I read about this stuff all the time because I'm interested in it. And be it actual official studies or anecdotal evidence, you soon start to realize this is not the smooth path that some people make it out to be. And I think what a lot of people do is they go on Reddit. They type in first cycle. Some dude goes, yeah, just smash 500 milligrams of test into your ass and that's it. Okay, that may be okay for this guy, but it is definitely not going to be all right for you because you're not the same person. It may not even do anything. I mean, of course that it would, but some people can go on that side at high amounts of tests and they don't see anything. Again, this is very, very few and far between, but until you know, you can't really trust anybody else's opinion because they do not know how that chemical is going to affect you. And then again, another guy, same again, bidding on my first cycle, bulk viral transformation, first cycle, and he's flexing there and he's doing some rows, etc. But again, he's not like, okay, I don't want to rag on these people. I mean, that's a pretty good lift. But I just think you see these things and I worry that they are moving forward with down a pathway that they probably would have got the same results with anyway. Again, it would be great to be able to sit down and actually ask them what they're doing. It's the same with this guy. It blows my mind. Today's my last day training naturally, starting 12 weeks of 400 meg tren. Sorry, boys, got to get ready for Shama gym trend first cycle. Actually, it does say April Fool's down there, which I missed. But again, this is actually something we can talk about as well. Again, this is maybe me going off a little bit too track here. But maybe that wasn't April Fool's, and maybe it was a joke. But what if someone doesn't see that hashtag? And what if somebody sees that body or sees something he does down the line and thinks they want to do trend? Trend, man. Look, I don't know anyone that's done trend. So the only real experiences I got are people like Greg Doucette. I think Greg Doucette did a video on it. I can't remember. Somebody I watch on YouTube did a video. Sounds like the most terrifying thing I've ever heard in my life. You're sweating constantly and you may look great, but deep down you want to die. And I just don't think it's worth it, especially when you're that young. I mean, there's just so many other things you can do. Of course, the earlier you go to the gym, the better, because then you're going to be able to build a good base, you're going to be able to have a good structure. That's just going to help you down the line, because obviously lifting is a lifelong thing when you think about it, but you do not want to take the shortcuts too early. Like, you don't. And it's just there on TikTok. Blows my brain. Same as this guy as well. One cycle won't hurt. And he's got trend in his hashtags. I mean, he's gone on something there, and that's kind of an insane transformation when you look at the before and the after. I mean, my word. And I suppose if somebody does see that, of course they're going to think, well, I want to look like that, especially this guy here. It's the same guy, I believe. Guy looks absolutely shredded, especially when you see him beforehand. I assume that's the same bathroom. I don't know. I've never been in his bathroom before. It'd be weird if I had done. I think maybe you need to put more information out there because everybody just wants to throw the things. I mean, he's got hashtag Natty in his, so maybe it's another joke. I don't know. But again, the fact I don't know is a problem. And I can totally see a world where people start going to themselves, oh man, well again, I want to look like that, so I've got to do this. And I think that's the other thing too. People now start to believe that it's the only way you can achieve these results. Now, of course, it's going to give you a huge leg up, but there are still ways of having a great physique without having to be on a tremendous amount of whatever you want to call it, testosterone, trend, steroids, blah, 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 orals, injectables, it goes on forever. This is another dude as well. My parents asking me how I'm getting so big and what the needles are under my bed for. It's my allergy shots, mummy. I promise. Gym, fitness, so on, so natural trend. Again, it's got natural in there too. So I think it just creates this very bizarre situation. And let's say that did happen. Like, I mean, if you're still living at home, maybe it's not the best time to start injecting yourself. Especially because as always, it ties into stuff like this. And the doctor tells me to stop dry skipping 5 servings of pre-workout or my heart will explode. And we do this ha-ha funny video of his heart exploding and him dying. Like, of course, there should be humor to be found in everything. But when you take everything and you put it into a big ball, you do start realizing that people will take this the wrong way and they will miss the humor and they will start thinking I have to dry scoop pre-workout and everything else. And you move to this one where my mum begs me to stop injecting Trenbolone in my ass. I mean, it's nuts. The thing I don't get to, I'm just trying to speed up here in my video. When he takes his top off there, of course he's in good shape. That's a great physique, right? He's lean. You can see all of his muscles. But Tren? You need to be on Tren for that? I don't think you need to be on Tren. And we'll finish off with all these classic ones. One cycle didn't hurt. It's worth it. Steroid, just one cycle. No one just does one cycle as well. That's nonsense. And again, this dude here, clearly he's putting on some size, but one cycle didn't hurt. You don't know that until you've done the cycle. Actually, I've got a couple more here that I wanted to go through as well. Because this guy's crazy. Looking like this on TRT dose test, just wait till that blast gonna blow the fuck up. This is not a TRT dose. You're not gonna look like that on a TRT dose unless you have superior genetics, which, this guy may have, but I'm gonna presume he's on other stuff. I don't know whether that's the same guy as well, but he's definitely not on... and that's the thing as well. The first workout being 21. Does he mean he's 21 years old? And he's already on stuff. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just being your dad. Maybe I'm being overly critical about it. And again, I think you need to make up your own mind, but I also think you need both sides of the story. And this side of the story is out there everywhere. And I get that the other side is out there as well, but it doesn't blow up and it doesn't get the traction, it doesn't get the views for everything that we've talked about. So I just okay, well, I'm going to talk about it for a bit. And again, you're allowed to say, shut up, you bald asshole. What do you know? Perfectly fine. But I would just implore you to research it as much as you possibly can and try and talk to actual people that have done it, that have their heads screwed on straight and aren't just going to go, oh yeah, man, it's brilliant. No. Talk through everything. Talk about all the problems that can happen. Because that's when you know whether you want to do it or not. And please do not get dragged in or drawn in by these TikTok videos because you don't know how these people are actually feeling. They may be addicted to it. You can get addicted to steroids. Of course you can. I'm not saying it's a physical addiction, but the way it makes you look and the way it makes you feel, it's the same with anything, right? It's why people get addicted to cocaine because it makes them feel great. So I'm going to keep doing it and stuff. So this isn't stuff that should be toyed around with, especially the way we're getting it. Unless somehow you're able to get it for a doctor, and that way it's prescribed, so you should do what your doctor tells you. You don't actually know what's in this stuff. It's coming from anywhere. And just because it says one thing on a label doesn't mean that's what it is on the label. And there's nothing wrong with talking about it either. Of course, if you get into the gym, this stuff is going to enter your head. That is a perfectly, ironically, natural way. Well, it's a natural thought process to have because it's kind of enticing. If you're really struggling in the gym and someone says, oh, here's the magic pill, of course you're going to be drawn to that. But you just don't put anything in your body unless you 100% know what it is. And that's supplements, that's this kind of stuff, that's pills, whatever, right? Be smart, be safe, and remember my favorite catchphrase, there's no point looking big in a box. Now, please do leave a comment below and let me know what you think about all of this. Maybe you think I'm full of crap. You can tell me in the comments below. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell ding ding so when others going live, there will be a video on the screen. Please do give it a click. Otherwise, grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon to get 10% off. Greg Doucette's Power 13 cookbook. I'm in that. All of this is in the description below if you need more info. At Simon316 on Instagram and Twitter. Patreon.com/Simon316 for all my reaction videos because YouTube doesn't like them anymore. Simon@bigcartel.com for merch and Cameo. Again, a lot of that was gibberish. Look in that description. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.